everyone. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are and wherever you are listening or watching from. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Pula Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, the Invictus community, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome. Again, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. As you know, we are a channel. We are a bit biased. We are a bit petty. Well, actually, we bring you facts, really. But we could throw in a little pettiness there on the side. Gotta claim who I am, right? So, anyways, hope you guys have had a great week. I haven't, I know I dropped a podcast yesterday. I wasn't on it. So I hope you guys have had a good weekend, good week. A lot of us are, coming down from our faves, well, actually, wait. Did I say Tuesday? Wait, is today Wednesday? I think today's Wednesday. I'm losing track of my days. Oh my goodness. Today's Wednesday. The week just kind of ran by there. So anyway, but a lot of us are coming down from, the travails of Shutter Island, being over there at Shutter Island, mourning for our faves and, really praying, hoping in every way that they just get out of there and get home. And, so today we had a great news that our faves are here. Back in the U.S., back on U.S. soil, and thank you, Lord, for bringing them home safely. And hopefully they are, I'm sure they are wrapped up in their baby's arms and are just, hadn't seen them for 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks or how long it's been. So I am just so happy that they are home. And so anyways, welcome, guys. To all my friends who are here hanging out with me in the chat. Hello, guys. We just say hello to you. Let's see. I see Lydia, our awesome moderator, is here. Hi, Lydia. And Lydia always giving us information about the fundraiser that apparently it's still going on until the end of the month. So thank you, Lydia, for providing that information. And yes, she's like, happy Wednesday. I started out thinking today was Tuesday again. It's like my days are rolling into one. Welcome, Lydia. And our other awesome moderator, Karen M is here. Hello, Karen M. And our other awesome moderator, Church Nelly, is here with all her emojis. Hello, Church Nelly. Wonderful Tuesday. Happy hump day. I love it. How are you, my dear? And all the wonderful squaddies out there in South Carolina. Welcome. Hello, guys. And Black Queen is here. Hi, Black Queen. And Annie is here. Hi, Annie. And Auntie Jane. And Joyce is here. And who else? Oh, Elaine is here. Hi, Elaine, hanging out with us. She is in the UK. Hi, Elaine. And all our wonderful squaddies in the UK. Oh, my heart always breaks. I was like, Lord, protect our squaddies in the UK from the mess. Veronica is here, and Cinderella is here, and VC is here, and who else? Oh, hi, Terry. Terry's here as well. Hello, Terry. And Eleanor and Lumiere. Oh, I love Lumiere. What is that animated show with the coffee pot and the candlesticks? What is that one? I don't remember. One of the oh shoot, and you would think I didn't work with kids and I don't remember what it's called, but it has a candlestick, and I think that was the name of the candlestick. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the name was Lumiere. I think. Okay, but I love that name. Very French, I think it is. Let's see. Please correct me if I'm wrong and I just make a fool of myself thinking it's Lumiere. Ray Raquel is here. Hi, Ray Raquel. How are you? And Kenitha. Hi, Kenitha. And Darlene. And Annie. I think I said Annie before. And Dolores. And Jerlene. Hi. Hello, guys. Long time no speak and see and all of that stuff. And Patricia is here. Hello, Patricia. And Nellie is here. Hi, Nellie. And let's see. But anyway, guys, welcome. And as again I said, our faves are home. They're back in the U.S. They're back in Santa Barbara and Montecito, hanging with their babes. And we are just so happy. So happy that they are home. It may take them a little bit of time to get some healing. So, in a way, like Meghan, they're still going through that. This is the final week of mourning. So of course we didn't get the podcast this week, but this is the last week, so I'm looking forward to getting back to archetypes and all the wonderful stuff that's going to be there. I think the next podcast would be about dragon lady, the trope, the dragon lady, which is I think as associated with a lot of women or Asian women. So I think that's what's going to be, because I think Lisa Ling and I don't remember who the other person is that's going to be a part of it. So I think that's what's going to be a next one. So I am looking forward to it. In the meantime, I'll be going back through them again, just listening to them again. They were really awesome. If you haven't listened to it, definitely jump on there. The link will be in the show notes. If you don't have the link, definitely jump on there and listen to them. They are fantastic, as anyone can tell you. But again, jumping into things, I don't know, you guys maybe Byron talked about it, maybe not, I don't know, but I didn't get a chance to listen to Baron, so I'm gonna do that later today, so I don't know what he talked about. So anyways, we got this beauty this morning, if you hadn't heard about it. So if you have, just humor us a little bit. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but it's just wonderful. Tyler Perry was on Jenna and Hoda's show, which is on NBC. They are still in my doghouse, so I only saw I don't watch television to begin with, so I don't have it, but I tend to avoid both Hoda and Jenna because NBC is very shady and they're very much royal sycophants. And so I stay away. And so the only time I really did something with Hoda was when she had the interview with Harry, and I did commend her on it because it was a good interview. She did a good job. But other than that, ABC and NBC, which is where this show is, they are royal sycophants. And, oddly enough, Jenna was at Dumfries' house when the Queen, when she started to decline, she was there to interview Prince Charles. And he had to bail out. I think a helicopter came, picked him up, and took him to Balmoral. But they were there setting up to do an interview with Prince Charles, which is, it's like, very interesting. There was a lot of timing things that are very interesting for me that I would love to hear the answers to. But anyways, so Tyler Perry was on their show. And so he was talking about his new movie coming out that's called Jazz. Oh, shoot. And I completely forgot to bring in his information for the show, for his new film. And apparently it's getting really great reviews. And so, Jazz Man, I think it's called. And for me, I am just so proud of Tyler Perry. One, the man is amazing. Whether you are into his work or not, I am not necessarily a big fan of Tyler Perry's work per se. I did love Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That's probably the only film that I loved that film. It's a great film. The performances were great and I loved it. I am not necessarily a fan of the other stuff. I don't know his television shows because, again, I don't watch television, so I don't really, I've never seen them, so I couldn't judge. But as a person, as a man, as just what he stands for, and just the way how he has built his business, and how generosity is off the charts. He just stands in the gap for Black people, and supporting. It's like an angel sent from the Lord, Tyler Perry. And so many women, so many people that this man has stood in the gap and used the gifts and the finances that God has given him, and just shared it. Especially during the pandemic, and and then of course we know what he did for Harry and Meghan. So he was there talking about the film, and then they asked him about just his generosity to Harry and Meghan. And because Meghan had talked about it, because normally he's very cagey about them, he will never talk about them, even to Gail when she tried to probe, and he wouldn't do it. But because Meghan had already talked about it in the interview, he felt like, okay, I can talk about it. And so he talked about, just their love. And I love that. He said, he said, I wish the world knew, as you can see in the top, I typed out a little bit as just some of what he said. And he said, I wish the world knew how much these two people love each other. The love they have is really, really moving. And then that ... is just because, Twitter doesn't give you a lot of characters to play with. I had to sort of just shorten it. He says, the love that they have is really, really moving. And I just wanted to support them. And it goes on to say, and if I don't have that, what she and Harry has, I don't want it. And so he's talking about just how amazing the love they have for each other. If he doesn't have that kind of love, he doesn't want it. And it was just, you could see, even though they didn't say it, but especially Hoda, she's done said some shady things when it comes to Meghan. And I don't know, but it seemed like she's a little bit jealous there. And you could see it was like, really? He really loves her, huh? Kind of thing. And maybe I'm just reading it. I'm probably just reading into that. But it was just like, and they were like, really? It's almost like we've never heard of that kind of love before. Two people really loving each other, and but anyways, it was just like, I just love that. I love how Tyler Perry just, Oprah had said the same thing about them, talking about just how in sync they were. They're just two people that just love each other. And they were talking about soulmates and stuff. And, so it just, I'm going to put the link actually. Oh, wait, I think I put it, I think I sent it in our community page. I think I posted it in our community page. A lot of things has happened this morning. I don't remember what I did. I think it's on our community page. So if it's not there, the link is going to be in the show notes of this video. But I think that's what I did this morning. So, but yeah, I just think it was thank you, Sylvia. I'm not wrong. Sylvia says, yes, Hoda and Jenna have both shady when it comes to Meghan. Yeah, very shady, especially Hoda. Like, I remember when just after the Oprah interview, and she was like, when she was talking to Oprah, it's like, so does Meghan, does she want to change anything? Does she feel like she needs to, basically asking like if Meghan said something wrong and she feels like she needs, to correct anything. And Oprah was like, no, they're fine. They have no problems with what they said, but it was just like, I don't know. There's just this thing there. And I don't know. Again, I'm probably reading into it, but it just felt like, they were a little bit shocked to know that Harry and Meghan actually love each other, and more that Harry, the prince, actually loves her. And which is usually where that goes. So again, but I'm just so happy that Tyler Perry talks about it. And so many people said the same thing. I wish people would know them and get to know them, and then two, know the kind of love that they have. And so I just love that he was able to share that about them. And especially, in the past week, it's just been rough. So rough, Kenitha says, I just heard the video. I played it about 5 times. Kenitha, I think I beat you. I think I played it about 20. I was like thinking, like, I think I played this way too many times. So, Cinderella says, well, Hoda just broke up with her fiance. Oh, okay. So she probably sour on love. Okay, well, that could explain that. Okay, I could see that. All right. But wait, did she break up last year, right after the Oprah interview? Because she was shady then. So, so maybe that's when they broke up. Okay, good to know. Use there. So, hey, I understand. Thierry says, Tyler shut them down with letting them know how much in love Harry and Meghan are. Let them keep their negativity to themselves. Absolutely. And I think that's why they were a bit shocked, even though they were using ladies. We could tell. We know that those laughters, Miss B Talk says, well, Jenna's in bed with King Charles and Camilla and can't expect better. Well, the thing about the Bushes and the royal family have a long history. So honestly, her being there with Prince Charles is not a secret. The Queen and the Bush family have a long history together. The Queen and a lot of old money US have a long history together, same as Prince Charles. The same, they have a long history with the Reagans as well. They would come to the US and stay at their place, and they really so this is not surprising in a way, but it's just the time for me, the timing, of them doing the interview and doing it of all places at Dumfries House, where all of those cash for access, cash for honors, cash for all of those things, that was like the center place where all of that stuff came from. And so it's very interesting that that's where they were doing it. I would only imagine if they were doing an interview that Jenna would have brought up the cash for access, cash for honor stuff, but knowing how sycophantic channel, well, in US Channel 4 or NBC is, probably not. Is they're probably there to big up the royalty and the royal family. So but again, the Bush family, their own money, the same again, Reagans and all the the Kennedys and all of those, they and the royal family have great strong connections because from history. So again, whenever the Queen came, those are the people, those were her people, and then the rich ones in Wyoming and all of those so yes, interesting. You learn about the connections that they have in the US, and usually, especially when it comes to Prince Charles, it's usually I'm coming for money, that you see Prince William doing the same thing when he comes to the US, especially with his Earthshot mass. It's all about raising money they come to the, even though they look down on America, when they want money for something, where do you think they come to? Old money US. So yeah. But anyways, moving on. So for me, I really just love, absolutely just love how Tyler Perry just came in there and just really, it did something to my heart, so yeah. Oh, Alan Vernon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your donation. Oh, and says panel, it was Beauty and the Beast, and the candlestick was Lumet. Oh my God, that was correct. And it was Beauty and the Beast. Thank you so much. I couldn't remember which one. I don't have my animated cartoons shows. I just don't have it to memory. So thank you so much. And I knew there was a Lumiere. So fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Alan, for your fantastic donation. I appreciate very much. But anyway, so oh my goodness, this is saying my computer, my thing is critically low. Just give me a second, guys. Oh, don't want my battery to go out here. Okay. Do need to get a new one of these things. Okay, fantastic. Anyways, so again, I am just, I needed I don't know, personally, just needed to hear some good news about our faves, especially remember coming from Shutter Island, and I was just looking at these pictures and it was just like, oh my goodness. I mean, someone said, especially the picture on the left and all the others that's like it should go into a museum of something, and I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. And I mean, it is just iconic. But you look at it and it's so beautiful. And you look at Harry and Harry, it's so beautiful. But then you look at her eyes, and for me, it's one of those things where it's just like, in spite of all the outward beauty and the outward, the hat, the dress and all of those things, I think for me, one just needed to look at Meghan's eyes. And they always say like that eyes is the window of your soul or something. I think that's the saying. And for me, it was just like, I couldn't get as much as I saw the beauty, I couldn't get away from her eyes and knowing and realizing that I've seen that look, that I've seen that detached, I have to protect myself look. And, even the picture on the right, it's like we've seen Harry and Meghan hold hands before, but it's like you look at their body language and it's like they're struggling. These are two people struggling. And yes, they're at a funeral and obviously there's a grief there, but and you look at Meghan's eyes, especially, there was more than just that grief. That it was more than just, grief for a loved one that just passed, and especially that we know what has been happening with the racist, abusive British press and their right-wing nutcases that are in the US and the UK, and the abuse from all corners, it seems, of the UK this past week has been disgusting. It's like, it was such at a level, it was so alarming, the disgustingness that came. And for me, I was thinking just about, every time you read something, especially from a British newspaper, it's all about the pomp and the pageantry and all of those, the beauty and the soldiers marching and all of that stuff, and you think of all the kings and queens that came to the UK, to England, to leaders around the world that came to England for the funeral, and all of that riches and power and all of those things. And yes, there were all of those things. But for me, none of those things can cover over the stench of venom, the stench of racism, the stench of just complete vileness that was wafting over the pond from England, from all corners, really, of the UK. None of those pomp and none of that stuff can cover over for what they threw at Meghan and Harry, really, but the majority went to her for just breathing. And you could see, Meghan and Harry always hold hands and stuff. And even at the funeral, you could see it's almost like they were afraid to touch each other, because it's kind of like, what are they going to say? And I'm telling you, the UK is long on pomp and circumstance. They are long on pageantry. But they are very, very short on humanity. It is I'm like, again, and I look at these pictures and I think, look at the two people that left the US and got to the UK. Look at their faces when they got there. Look at the joy on their face to give to the kids and the young people at One Young World. And then you look at the picture on the right as to what they look like the last day. This is the last image we got for them after the funeral. It's like two people who are like destroyed, and it's like, oh my gosh. And this is like 2 weeks. And again, I look at this is more than just sadness for a loved one, And this is what that venom could do to people for no reason, but just malicious vindictiveness, spite. I mean, I'm telling you, I always feel so bad, because I'm like, our squaddies are there on the daily and have to put up with that nastiness. And I'm not just saying the UK is the only one. That a lot of people in the US were doing it as well, but that's where they were. And they have to face that stuff. They have to literally face people there. And then not only that, is to know that a lot of that is coming from the royal household. They're feeding the press. Leak after leak after leak after leak. Coming from Kensington Palace, Buckingham Palace, Clarence House. It was just disgusting. And just to let all that stuff, it's like the invite, uninvite, it's just like, and then they expect them to want to be there. If anything good that came out of any of this is that so many people now, more than ever, are understanding why Harry and Meghan walked out. And I'm telling you, I probably said this the last time, but if this would be, for me, this would be the end for me with that family. This is where I will cut it off. This is where that boundary would go up, and I will cut them right off. Because I can't imagine how mentally damaging this 2 weeks has been. And Meghan talked about at the end of the cut interview that she hasn't spoken about everything because she's still healing. What this has to do, how much setback has that healing gone back? you know? And so it just, oh gosh, it is just really like, moving on. Just moving on. I'm like, one of the things that popped up today. Oh, wait, before I even get to that, I want to say thank you to, let's see, did I just miss it? Oh, wait, hang on one second. Where is it? Oh, Maggie Margaret. Thank you so much. Oh, she says, Pedal, thank you for all you're doing, revealing the truth completely. You're on point oh, thank you, Maggie. I try. All of us at Sussex Squad are just focusing on just telling the truth and just calling it as it is. Because what is the alternative, right? But thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate it. So this today this popped up from the UN. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was doing a speech at the UN today, and the speech was about, quoting him, he says, social media platforms based on a business model that monetizes outrage, anger, and negativity are causing untold damage to communities and society. And I'm going to read a little bit of his speech here. Give me 1 second, just pull that up. Oh, actually, let me get myself out of the way so that way you can see it. There we go. Get me out of there, and we can see it. So this was the Secretary General's address to the UN. He says, social media platforms based on a business model that monetizes outrage, anger, and negativity are causing untold damage to communities and societies. Hate speech, misinformation, abuse, targeted especially at women and vulnerable groups, are proliferating. Our data is being bought and sold to influence our behavior, while spyware and surveillance are out of control, all with no regard for privacy. Artificial intelligence can compromise the integrity of information system, the media, and indeed democracy itself. Quantum computing could destroy cybersecurity, increase the risk of malfunction and complex systems. We don't have the beginnings of a global architecture to deal with any of this. Excellencies, who are the people there, progress on all these issues and more are being held hostage by geopolitical tensions. Our world is imperiled and paralyzed. Geopolitical divides are undermining the work of Security Council, undermining international law, undermining trust and people's faith in democratic institutions, undermining all forms of international cooperation. We cannot go on like this. And, I would move on to say not just social media platforms, mainstream media, especially Rupert Murdoch media, especially Lord Rothermare's media, especially that. Along with the social media platforms, whatever, but mainstream media, you can't just blame social media. Yes, they are guilty of this, but mainstream media platforms, in the US, there are, the AONs and especially Fox, which again, Rupert Murdoch media has been at the forefront of a lot of these problems in the US, in Australia, in the UK. And it's taking democracies. It's like it's like hanging on by their fingertips right now because of that. And I've always said it. Democracy and Rupert Murdoch media cannot coexist. One is going to go. And right now, democracy is the one that's like falling off of a cliff right now. And I think people are not taking seriously enough what his media empire has been doing. They know it's there and they're not doing anything about it. And so, yeah, it's unreal. But I appreciate, the Secretary General talking about it. But my thing is, okay, so what are we going to do? I'm like, solutions. What are we going to do? What can happen? You are at the, at the UN. So you guys have all the leaders there. So what can we do to make sure to fix this problems? Because just talking about it and listing it, that's great, but what can we do to fix it? That's my question. Today I saw one of the things that we could do, especially, there are these shows, there are quite a few of them, especially in the UK. I don't know, the US doesn't have as many, I don't think. These call-in shows, there's these call-in shows that they, and a lot of these call-in shows like LBC or what is it? The other one that I forgot it's called, Talk TV or whatever it is, Talk TV. These are right-wing shows. The Talk TV, that's the one from Rupert Murdoch that has Piers Morgan on it and all of that stuff. A lot of these reporters on these shows are usually targeting Meghan. There are usually a lot of them, and a lot of the reporters, it seems like a lot of them literally exist to target and abuse her. And because apparently that's usually the majority, like 90% of their topics is about abusing Meghan. And not just white people. They have black reporters, especially on shows, I think it's called BG News or GB News. GB News, I think it's called in the UK. They have black reporters, black female reporters on that channel who are just as abusive to Meghan as their white co-workers. And it is sickening to the point where now GB News, they are deliberately, someone just posted on Twitter that they are deliberately, including the black ones, deliberately posting crazy stuff on Twitter about Meghan just to get engagement. So they were warning us to stay away and block all of them. I mean, they're blocked for me. And it is ridiculous the things that they're doing. So for me today, when I came across this, someone posted this on Twitter, it was very heartening. There was a caller, this male caller from Scotland, and he was calling because partly he was talking about Prince Charles, a slim down, doing the slim down monarchy. And he's like, well, is that something we should be excited about? Why do we need a monarchy? And he's very anti-monarchy. He does not want to have anything to do with Prince Charles and his nonsense about slim down monarchy. He wants them gone. And so he was talking about that. And then he started in on Nick Ferrari. He is one of the reporters that abuses Meghan on the regular. And this is what the caller says. Politics Joe tweeted about it. And this guy, this is some of what he says. He says, all of you right-wing gammon personalities have been bullying Meghan Markle since the word go. And so I screenshotted it's a video. I'm going to put the link in the show notes so you can listen to the video yourself. But these are just screenshotted, some of what the guy says. He says, when I hear people like yourself bullying Meghan Markle, that's what you're doing because she's a black woman. And you and all other right-wing gammon media personalities, you've been bullying Meghan Markle since the word go. And and it sounds, the gentleman calling, and I don't know if the man is black, white, whatever, but like the sound of it and what, just kind of figure out what he's talking about, it seems like it's a white guy. And so Nick was trying to say, whoa, wait a minute. You think that's what I do? And he's like, yeah, that's what you all have been doing. And for me, I appreciate this so much because I think until these reporters, fellow white reporters, start calling them out, and fellow white people in the UK start calling these people out, they're not going to change. They're going to keep saying, oh, no. And they're going to be glad because their thing is when black people call them out, their thing is always, no, you're just pulling the race card. You just, you're making everything about race and it's not about race. But when their own people call them out and say, no, yes, that's what you've been doing, it's a very, very different way that he responded. He knows what he's doing. He couldn't really argue with the guy. He couldn't tell him, oh, you're playing the race card. He basically had to eat it. And so for me, it's just, all of those people who are claiming they're allies need to start calling these people out. To our white friends who are allies, you need to start, when you see racism, you need to call it out. These people, they're co-workers, white and black, in the internet. I keep saying this over and over. White and black reporters, journalists in the British press and the US. I mean, US, the US is a little bit different in that we're not blatantly, racist on, the ones that are, they get, a lot of times they lose their jobs. But in the UK, they've gotten away with this stuff. They can gaslight you and get away. So unless black and white reporters, their colleagues, calling them out to their faces, this is not going to stop. So I appreciate that guy. I very much appreciate him pointedly telling him, no, this is what you've been doing, and you've been doing it because she's black. All of you right-wing people, this is what you've been doing. And he wouldn't hear it. He couldn't even say it. It's like, no, it's because he had to basically eat it, because he knows exactly what he was doing. And he couldn't tell this guy, no, you're just pulling the race card, because I think that, again, I don't know. I couldn't speak. I don't know what the guy's race is, but listening to him and what he was saying, it seems like it was a white man. And I appreciated that man coming out and pointedly saying, you're racist and that's what you're doing. And that is what needs to happen. More and more people need to shame them and let them know this is what you're doing. So I appreciate that guy, and I want to hear more of, more people do it. So yeah, good for him. Because again, the last week has been, it's been unreal. Like, are you serious? In the middle of trying to sell the world pump and pageantry, no pump and pageantry can cover over what you did. The stench rise right above your pump and pageantry. So yeah, but again, I appreciate that. Anyways, moving on. Actually, let's just come down from that a little bit. Let me do a little bit of change music, even though it's not really a change, but I just need to take a second. Yeah, a little bit of a change. That's good. That's good. I think I'm getting a little bit better at my fading. Every time I do it, I was like, I'm getting a little bit better, if I may say so myself. I'm probably not, but if I may just big myself up for a second. So, but anyways, before I even get to that, let me just look at some of your, if you might be tweeting about this. So before I even get to William and his mess, let's just stay here for a second, and I'll just kind of check in what you guys are talking about there. Dolores says the Scottish gentleman let him have it and did not back down. And I think that's what I appreciated too, Dolores, is that he would not back down. He's like, and he was pointing, it's like, yeah, that's why, this guy, he pretty much had nowhere to go, because, and again, I only heard a clip, so who knows the longer conversation, if they talked about it more. I don't know. I only got that clip. But in this instance, from this clip, he didn't back down. He just let him know, no, that's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And so, and I appreciated that. Yeah, so I absolutely appreciated that. Elizabeth says that big old white and the LVC have always bashing. Yeah, they have a lot of, a lot of people like that. There is another one, James, I forgot what his last name, James O'Brien, I think. I like him. He is so fair. He is completely fair. He talks about Meghan and just the racism that's happening. He actually, one of our squaddies, royal_suitor, that's her Twitter handle. He actually read an article about her from her that's described what happened in the UK, like especially the royal family and the British press, and why they would not accept Meghan. Basically, they want to separate them, and so it was amazing. So I think his name is James O'Brien. He is incredible, but he works for the same outlet. So yeah. Let's see. Anybody else talking about it? R. Smith. Hi, R. Smith. R. Smith says, quite true. No black anchor woman would be allowed to drag a white woman for years with no repercussion. No, absolutely not. No black man or woman would be allowed to do it. They do it one time. Isn't that one? What is it? And I think he's a sports guy or something. UK squaddies, you can let me know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But when the Queen died, I think he was like a footballer or a cricketer, whenever. He works for, I think, one of the sports outlets in the UK. And he said something, I think it may have been about colonialism or something, and the Queen. They promptly suspended him from his job. He couldn't say anything about the Queen, and he got suspended. Can you imagine? No black woman, no black person on there. I mean, look at when they were even, talk about royals. When they even did that documentary, look at the abuse. What is it? I don't even remember the name of the guy who's the host. But he is, South Asian guy. I forgot his name is. But he got all this abuse and pushback. Some people even threatening his job at BBC. And so it's like, can you imagine one of them attacking, say, Kate or Camilla or Sophie Wessex? You would never happen, and them still have a job. But here are the white reporters doing it, and then the black ones joining them to do it against a woman of color. It's unreal. So let me see a couple more before I move on. Yes, James O'Brien, he is awesome. Absolutely. Yep, that's him. So again, he's the one that read the thing from Royal Suitor, which was fantastic. Let's see. Catherine Mack. Hi, Catherine. Says, even Savannah was saying some shady things about Meghan. Yeah, she always does. Savannah Guthrie always does. Very, very shady. Again, NBC and their staff, they're royalists. ABC is the same thing. Maggie Ruley. I used to love Scobie's podcast, and then Maggie Ruley came on. It was just like, oh no, she is such a royal sycophant. And it just, and again, ABC, not only they use Omid, but they use Robert Jobson, lying Robert Jobson, who is forever retweeting the Daily Mail. That's, I guess he does articles for them, whatever. And yeah, it's like they don't care that this man has been part of the abuse of Meghan. And again, they're royalists. Again, ABC is the same one that, when the reporter was caught on a hot mic saying that they had all this information on Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein and all of that. They had everything to go, and the palace threatened them to take away any kind, any interviews or whatever with William and Kate. So the channel squashed it. So yeah, these are the same people. So that's why I don't usually watch or I actually on Twitter I have them blocked. I'm like, no. NBC and ABC, they're royal sycophants. So yeah, Savannah Guthrie always. And again, there is that jealousy. Joan, hi Joan Garcia. Joan says NBC tries to act like they're fair, but their anchors make snide remarks about Harry and Meghan. Yeah, again, that's why they're blocked. Yep, very true. Again, ABC and NBC. Fox News is the same. I mean, Fox News with the white supremacist behavior. That's the thing. It's like the royal family to them is the pinnacle of white supremacy. The absolute. And you guys could tell me if I'm wrong, because someone was saying that they had like hours and hours of broadcast for the funeral. I have no idea, but it's like Americans, and I think I saw something that said what is it, 3 million Americans watched the funeral. I mean, America is a country of like 300 and something million people, and they got like 3 million to what. I mean, we're not into it. I'm into, I mean, we cover royal stuff here, and I'm not into it. I mean, I've seen little clips here and there, and my mom was even asking me like today, she's like, did you watch it? And I'm like, I saw clips of it, and then I got pictures. I'm not a pump and pageantry and like, that's not my thing. So there was no way I was going to sit there watching this, it's just not my thing. No, I've never even been to a parade. It's not my thing. Angela says CNN also. Oh, okay. Someone was saying CNN has become like Fox News. I'm telling you, the influence of Rupert Murdoch the tentacles, they reach very far. So anyways, moving on. Oh, actually, so Terry says Savannah Guthrie and Dylan Dreyer. I don't know who Dylan Dreyer is, but they just had it with them so nasty towards Meghan. Okay. I'm not surprised at anything NBC and ABC do. But I don't know who Dylan Dreyer is. So I'm assuming is one of the reporters there. So okay. So let's move on. So what else I got here? So this week is supposedly morning, right? This is the week Meghan even canceled her podcast. So push it back. I'm assuming it'll come next week. She canceled. This was supposed to be where all royals are mourning. They supposedly canceled all events on the royal schedule and all of this stuff. Except today we got this. Omid posted, and I guess other places posted, but I saw Omid post, protecting the environment was a cause close to my grandmother's heart, and I know she would have been delighted to hear about this event and support you all, giving our Earthshot finalists the next generation of environmental pioneers, Prince William. So apparently Prince William appeared or did a video, whatever, for his Earthshot thing. I guess it's happening. I don't know, today. I don't know, whatever, whenever it's happening. And so I'm assuming it was today because Omid posted it today. And so, and again, I was like, but I thought y'all were on mourning and everything was canceled. And I know he was supposed to be in New York, but it got canceled. So if Meghan canceled her podcast, Meghan's podcast is already done. It's not like it's, she's recording it now. It's already done and it's lined up there to go. She canceled it because this was supposedly a week of mourning. But here is William still doing his Earthshot thing, and then using his dead grandmother to promote his Earthshot thing. I mean, the same dead grandmother who died in Balmoral, the same Balmoral that she lobbied Scottish Parliament and got an exemption from following Scottish environmental laws. This is the grandmother he's citing. Literally, the Queen died at Balmoral. She lobbied Scottish Parliament so that she doesn't have to follow environmental laws in Scotland. And this is who he's citing. And again, invoking his dead grandmother in a week that you're supposed to be mourning her. She just got in the grave 2 days ago. And so for me, I'm like, if Meghan had done this or if Harry had done this, what would the narrative be today? But I mean, it is unreal. And again, this is the same environmental nonsense because again, William uses his helicopter as and their private planes and all that stuff as a car, and him of the 5 homes, and now they're going to be moving into Windsor Castle, so that'll make it 6. And so it's like all of that while it's supposed. So I guess this is mourning royal style because, the British white ones, they could do this sort of thing and there's no drama. There's no negative press. Again, if Meghan had done something using and invoking the Queen's name 2 days after she is in the ground, what would the narrative be? And then the audacity to be using her name with something, again, the hypocrisy and the ridiculousness of the royal family for something where she literally got an exemption where she doesn't have to follow it. And even worse, this was happening. She got that exemption when Prince Philip was sick. I think it was the day before he went into the hospital. They got approved where she doesn't. I mean, the whole thing is a mess. If this was Meghan had done this, again, what would the narrative be? The double standard. And not only that, again, this is supposed to be mourning, right? Meghan canceled her thing. The Earl of Wessex will honor their long-standing commitment to visit Estonia and Germany later today. In his role as Royal Colonel of the 2nd Battalion, the Rifles and Royal Honorary Colonel, whatever. But again, Meghan put her life on hold. Harry put his life on hold. This is what again, if Meghan had dropped her podcast on Tuesday, I mean, the Queen was buried on Monday. She was already there. 2 days later, they could get back to stuff. And there, what would the narrative have been if Meghan podcast went ahead on Tuesday? Nobody. And again, this is good. I mean, I'm not saying, he's going there, he's working. I'm not saying anything about the work itself. What I'm talking about is the double standard in narrative. That is what I'm talking about. Everyone expects Meghan to honor this and, honor the, their mourning period and all of that stuff. These ones are not expected to honor it. Even when Prince Philip died, the Queen went back to work 4 days later. So it's just, for me, it's again, narrative. It's like one rule for them, one rule. And that's why, for me, I was just like, I was so not into it. I'm like, Meghan, do not stop your podcast. Do not stop the momentum for this. But again, everybody's in a different place. And for me, she's, she definitely, that is somebody that she cares about. And this is mourning for them. So I understand. I totally understand her. It's like, you know what, and whether she did it for that, that, or just because she just wanted the break for herself and then she'll come back to it. Either way, I'm like, they are not, doing it. So why should she? That's where I stand on that one. So anyways, moving on. So we, today, especially a lot of, and yesterday as well, a lot of data has been coming out and people are like, oh my gosh, people all over the world, because, they want to push the narrative, how popular the royal family is, how popular the Queen is all over the world. The ratings are going through the roof and all of that stuff. And one of the places is not going through the roof is one of the places that they needed to go through the roof. It says the Queen's funeral pulling 250,000 RTE viewers, but is well short of Harry and Meghan's interview. Over 250,000 people in Ireland turned into RTE to watch the Queen Elizabeth's funeral on Monday. The British monarch's funeral service at Westminster was watched by more than 26 million people in the UK. Provisional figures show yesterday. And then an additional 25,000 streamed it. But it says, to put the figures into context, 750,000 people viewed the Oprah Winfrey interview with Prince Harry and Meghan on RTE on 8th of March 2021. The interview was the 5th most watched broadcast on Irish TV last year. And so in Ireland, only 250,000 watched the Queen. I mean, this is the Queen. This is their Queen. Or at least it's supposed to be their Queen. Only 250,000 people watched it. An additional 275,000 between watching it on TV and streaming it. 275,000 compared to the real Queen of the world, Meghan, and Harry, the real King of the world, 725,000 watched it. And so it's like, they should really concern them because, again, you want to have Ireland on board there. And it's just really, it's really interesting to me. And again, they're going on and on. I think in England, apparently, and I need to bring those figures, and I think I'll have it for the next time. What they're saying, and I think they're still totaling up the streaming numbers, so that's why it's kind of left it until they supposedly have all the figures. But there was this thing that I think the Daily Mail, I think the article says, and I realized I didn't bring it in, but there's an article that claimed that, reporters from the Daily Mail and I think BBC and someplace else were claiming that 4.1 million people around the world were watching the funeral. But it's like a fact finder website. It says, nobody can, from who, like the reporter who first said it, not them or the Daily Mail or some other website that, and the BBC, that I think BBC was one of them, that were quoting that 4.1 billion people watching it. None of them could tell them where they got those numbers from. Nobody had any data as to where that number came from. So at this moment, it's like, that's most likely a lie. So they said if they contacted these news outlets, but none of them got back to them as to where, how did they come to that 4.1 million, where they got those numbers. None of them has responded to them. So I'm assuming none of them will. So, but yeah, interesting. But moving on. And if it wasn't bad enough, I mean, they're dealing with Queen Betty, passed. But now her cousin, who I didn't even know was her cousin, the Danish Queen, tests positive for COVID today. Oh yeah, at least yesterday. She was at the funeral, and she was also, I think she was also at the dinner thing that they had the night before, the one that Harry and Meghan were uninvited to. And I was like, oh, maybe that was God protecting them. I was like, I hope they didn't see or were around this Danish queen, because she tested positive for COVID. It says the Queen of Denmark has tested positive for COVID-19 for the second time this year, the Danish royal court has confirmed. Queen Margrethe II has canceled her appointments for the week after the diagnosis on Tuesday, which is yesterday. The 82-year-old monarch was one of 2,000 guests who attended the Queen Elizabeth's state funeral on Monday. She is Europe's longest-serving head of state following the British monarch's death. She and Queen Elizabeth are third cousins, both being descended from Queen Victoria. And so I was like, oh, I had no idea. I honestly had no idea that she was the Queen's cousin. So I was like, oh, very interesting. Very interesting. But again, people laugh at me now and look at me weird because I still wear my mask. I still wear my eye goggles thing. I'm like, COVID is still a thing. I get some looks. I mean, there are a few people that's in New York, at least in my neighborhood, that still wear their mask, and I am one of them. I am in the 2 years since COVID, I have never left my house without mask and goggles. I've always had them. And so when I saw this, and the other day, like, there were some people, Prince Edward was greeting the crowd, and he wouldn't shake people's hands. And so one of the things that I was saying is, like, I've knocked Prince Edward for a bunch of things, but that one I didn't knock him for, because I'm like, COVID is still a thing. So I understand him not shaking people's and all these people saying, because you never know. So yeah, but oh no, I meant did I say billion? No, I meant 4.1 million, not billion. No, not billion. 4.1 million. That's what I meant. So if I said billion, please forgive me. That was obviously an error. I think 4.1 billion people would be. No, million. That's what. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. moving on. Oh, but coming to think of it, I actually think that's what that article. You know what? I'm going to pull that article in because coming to think of it, I think that's what that article says. I was like thinking back, I'm like, it actually did say billion, didn't it? So let me pull it in and see if that's what it said, because I could be wrong, but thinking about it, because I'm like, yeah. And if I find it, I'm going to go back to Twitter, and if I find it, I will post it also in the community page so you guys can read it yourself. But yeah, so very interesting. So let's see. Going on. Let's see. Karen says she still wears a mask. Good for you, Karen. I'm like, COVID is a thing. It is absolutely a thing. So yeah. Let's see. You're right, Pedal. DM has been reporting 4.1 billion watching. Okay, so yeah, so it is 4.1 because I got kind of confused because I'm like, that's weird. 4 billion. But yeah, it's okay. So I wasn't okay. So the article did say 4.1 billion. Okay. And again, I'm gonna pull it in and put it in our community page so you guys can read it yourself. So yeah, I just saw that and got confused. So yeah. Which I highly doubt. I highly doubt. And again, when they tried to contact the news outlets, Daily Mail and I think BBC and another one, they didn't respond to them, which again, I don't think they are. So yeah. Edna says, I still wear masks too, but my husband bought it home from work. Thank God he retired in August. We had COVID three times. Oh my goodness. Oh my word, please keep your mask on. I have not gotten COVID, thank God. I don't want it. Especially, I mean, I'm someone that has, I know what it feels like to not be able to breathe properly because my sinuses. So I have been diligent with, I'm one of the crazy ones, like washing my hands. I literally do the same thing that I was doing 2 years ago when it all started, where you have to with all the washing your hands for like 20, I feel like I wash my hands for 20 minutes sometimes, and wiping down everything, disinfecting everything, the mask, I do the same thing. And so yeah. So yeah. Maggie says DM lied as usual. That's not true. Again, yeah, the outlet, the fact outlet, trying to find out where did you get that information. So yeah. Nat says I mask up everywhere I go. Lately, most of my nurse friends got the Rona and they were very sick. Yeah, again, it's down. It's definitely, in New York. We had ground zero for COVID for a while there in 2021. But and it's obviously way down now, and less people are dying, thank the Lord, but it's still there. So, and I am not here to get sick. So Dolores says she still wears hers as well. So thank you guys. Now I don't feel weird. Those weird looks that I get all the time. Don't feel so bad. Oh wait, actually. This is the one. Oh, sorry, Maggie. Yes, DM definitely lies. Phil Benjoy says, I still wear masks and I will do for as long as possible. I am the same way. So guys, keep your mask on if possible. The world population in 2022 is 7.78 billion. So that means over half the world population, they wish. So they mean all the world cities are shut down like the UK. Liars. Totally. Again, propaganda. They want to make it seem like the Queen is so popular. And it's like, no, she's not. As I just read, in Ireland, Meghan and Harry's interview got more than her. So it's kind of like, no. And apparently, and I don't have the facts for that. Even in the UK, the amount of people that watched Princess Diana's funeral was more than hers. And that's the thing. It's kind of like, we're talking about funerals. Do we need to talk about, the ratings? But that's what they're about. And they're all about the ratings. And so, yeah, apparently Princess Diana, her funeral had more viewers. And when she died, there wasn't social media then, so there's no streaming numbers or anything that will come in for that, because there wasn't that around at the time. So again, Princess Diana is really queen. So but anyway, moving on from, so I hope the Danish queen, I wishing her well. Again, she is elderly, and she's 82 years old, so that really affects, and this is the second time she's going to be getting it. So I best wishes to her, my prayers for that she gets better soon. So again, elderly people, and this is just, yeah. But anyways, I had to laugh when I saw this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Perth News Australia is reporting that I don't know if you guys remember when Thomas Markle went on Sunrise 7, and he made all of these defamatory claims against the Jeff Rayner and this other guy. I forgot his name. I think his last name is Coleman or something like that. And he was making the claim that Jeff Rayner and this guy, they were part of setting up those pictures with Thomas Markle, that they were doing it so that they can, disrupt Harry and Meghan's wedding. They wanted the wedding to be canceled and all of that stuff. So he made all these, defamatory claims against the paparazzi guy who set up those crazy shots that started this whole mess. And so he did that on Sunrise. And you would think a television station, you know what Thomas Markle is, that he shoots stuff out of, you would record it. I mean, any sane person would record it, so that way you have an opportunity if he says something that that is defamatory in any way, you can check with your lawyers and edit it out. But they didn't do that. They did a live interview with him. And of course, Thomas Markle went shooting out his mouth. And he said all those things about Jeff Rayner, the paparazzi guy. And now the guy is suing Channel 7. And so when he, it was the September 15th last year, he did that. And I remember retweeting that video, because what they did when he said that, very quickly they pulled it, they posted it online and very quickly pulled it down, because I guess their lawyers had a chat with them, and they pulled it down. And then the next day, you can see September 16th, the two co-hosts who were doing the interview kind of made this kind of flippant apology, well, I guess, maybe we should have taped it, and and it was very wild. So now Jeff Rayner, who is apparently from Australia because his family is in Australia, he's the paparazzi guy, he is now suing the station for defamation because of it. And so a little bit about what it says. It says the US-based paparazzi is now suing Channel 7 over an interview with Meghan Markle's estranged father, by which he claimed the photographer conspired to set him up, sabotage, and the royal marriage ceremony. Jeff Rayner, the co-owner of photograph company Coleman Rayner, is suing 7 for defamation within federal dockets over an interview broadcast on the community broadcast program in September. Finally, with Thomas Markle Sr., made a collection of allegations in opposition to him. Together with that, he was related to disgraced movie producer Harvey Weinstein, because basically Thomas Markle basically said that Jeff Rayner was working with Harvey Weinstein to take photographs of Harvey Weinstein's victims, so he can do bad things against those people, I guess. So basically the guy is suing. My thing is, he should have sued, if he should die, he should have sued Thomas Markle too. But again, I don't think Thomas Markle has money. I don't know that he does. So he is suing the Channel 7. A lot of people should be suing that. They are the same ones that, time and time again, it's been that station that has been doing all these negative negative commentary, negative video, whatever, about Meghan. The reporters are despicable on this. So again, I guess, Jeff Rayner is like, but what he said is not true and all of that stuff, but Thomas Markle said, no, they were trying to sabotage Meghan's wedding. And so I would love to see all of them go down. Like, from Jeffrey and Thomas Markle, this station, and all the others that are in Australia that has been despicable, I would want to see all of them go down. There are no good people in this thing. All of them needs to go down, you know. So, anyways, I'm like, that's just honestly snakes eating snakes as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely just snakes eating snakes. And moving on to something completely different. Oh, Nash, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for always supporting. I appreciate it so much. Let's see. Oh, Katerina says, she's talking to Edna. The Duke of Mexico is irrelevant. Yes, he is. But I was happy to see this lawsuit. And again, I hope all of them get sued in every way, shape, and form. They can keep suing each other for all I care. Let's see. Edna, this is Edna saying, I meant suing Thomas Markle for threatening him. Yeah, I think it was him or another one that is actually filed a lawsuit against Thomas Markle and got a restraining order. And that order was granted a few days ago, that they got a restraining order against, I think, Thomas Markle. I think he threatened to kill him or something, or beat him up or something like that. But he got a restraining order for, I think, a couple of years. And I'm like, these people are crazy. But, again, like karma is taking them out. So karma, you keep doing your work. So let's see. Sheila Campbell says the other ones were not mourning. They are misbehaving before the global audience and dividing titles. Harry and Meghan faces tell you they were mourning out of love for Granny, shared compassion for her loss. And I mean, that was very obvious. And again, I'm not saying, of course, I'm sure they were sad to see, their grandmother. I don't know personally how deep those relationships were. You only hear what the tabloids say, or some people in the British press say, they had really great relationships, whatever. But a lot of things that, you see, you're like, are you really grieving your grandmother or your mom, whatever, yeah. But again, we all grieve in different ways. So I'm not going to go there with that, but for me, I'm like, the two people who seems like there was nothing to gain from her death. They're probably the two that gained nothing from her. And they're the ones that really, for me, stood out with honoring her and, and really, as you would say, really grieving. And again, that's not to say others weren't grieving. Again, it's not my place to say everybody grieves differently. So, but, just looking and seeing the things that they do, you're like, okay, that gives you room for pause. So anyways, moving on. I talked about this before, and I have to say this is not the most surprising thing in the world at all. It's not surprising to me at all when I read this. So Nadine White, who I always refer to from the Independent, she's a race reporter there and Jamaican. She tweeted this today. She says over 1,000 Jamaican citizens represented by the Advocates Network are urging Prime Minister Andrew Holness to move forward with removing King Charles III as head of state. Now the Queen's funeral has taken place. And, when this whole thing happened with, the Cambridges were in Jamaica and Andrew Holness had the whole thing and he's like, yeah, we're moving on. One of my big question marks was how serious Andrew Holness was. And I remember having this conversation. You guys remember I had this conversation with Chef when she came on. And I was like, that was my big thing. I just don't. His behavior, the fact that he was also on the Queen's Privy Council, gave me pause as to how serious he was with, taking his country forward in becoming a republic and cutting those, get out from under the Queen's skirt, and cutting those strings to the monarchy. And that was the big question I had. I've always been like, why would you accept that role if you really are interested in get your country out? So apparently the Advocates Network sent out this press release, urging Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, to move forward. And this is part of what the press release says. Now it was sent yesterday, obviously, from Kingston, Jamaica. It says, now that the official period of mourning for the death of the Queen has ended, which greatly distracted the government from its focus on serving the people of Jamaica, the Advocates Network calls on the government of Jamaica to expedite the process of removing the monarch King Charles III as head of state. It is now more than 6 months since Prime Minister Holness announced in Parliament that we will establish an advisory committee, including by persons representative, to advise government on how to move Jamaica from a constitutional monarchy to a republic. Note that the approach must be collaborative and guided by expert advice. Days later, on March 24, 2022, he uttered those famous words to the Duke of Cambridge, William: "We are moving on." We note that 2022-2023 budget has taxpayers funding some $572,205,000 dollars associated with the new Ministry of Level of Constitutional Affairs established in January 22. The primary objective was to reform the Constitution to enable Jamaica to transform from the constitutional monarchy to a republic. We note that with great concern that over these 8 months, there has been no agenda, plan, or strategy to achieve this objective. On June 7, 2022, the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Minister Marlene Malahu Forte, in her secretarial presentation in Parliament, promised to establish the Constitutional Reform Committee, the CRC. The minister also promised to keep everyone up to date on all progress made. To date, nothing. Going on, it says, time come. And I love it. It's not even time has come. It's time come. It's come. The loud cry of the Jamaican people, more strongly amplified internationally since the death of the Queen, is to finally remove the monarch as head of state. The AN calls on the government to immediately provide a timeline for, 1, establishing the CRC and informing the public how they will be involved in reforming the Constitution. 2, starting a public education process to inform Jamaicans about the process of becoming a republic, including the importance of the constitutional reform. And 3, tabling the request legislative bill in Parliament to ensure the removal of the King as head of state by Jamaica's 61st celebration on Independence Day on or before August 6, 2023, next year. The AN urges the government to act now. It has been more than 27 years since the Joint Select Committee of Constitutional and Electoral Reform agreed to remove the monarch as head of state. The AN will continue its collaboration with Jamaica Accountable Media Polo, JMP, the National Integrity Action, NIA, and the Institutional of Law Economics in building public awareness through series of public discussions forum entitled Our Jamaica Republic. And then it goes on to say, our next forum entitled King Charles III Change, Not Continuity for Jamaica, and that will be held in October. Again, time has more than come. And I'm so glad that this organization put this letter out so that people will know this is the very thing I was concerned about. This is the very thing. Whenever people tell me, oh yeah, I'm going to do something next year, I'm going to do something 2 years from now, I know my people. I know us. A lot of time that's just kicking it down the road so we never have to deal with that. And then 2 years, 3 years from now, we're going to kick it down the road another 2 and 3 years until one of the things that for me is most concerning is the reason why I'm always on the case of the Commonwealth is that for me, leaders of the Commonwealth, a lot of times leaders in our countries, in the Commonwealth countries, they are so wrapped up in what they benefit from their close association to royalty that I don't think they want to lose that. They get the privileges. They get the benefits from being that in, close proximity to royalty and, but the people don't. The people don't benefit. And for me, a lot of times, and what I'm seeing in a lot of these, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to do it in 3 years. Yeah. Because you want to keep that close proximity to royalty. You want to keep it. As opposed to, no. My people need to get away from this so we can become a republic. And this is the thing. This has been the concern for me when, again, you guys heard the conversation I had with Chef for this very same thing. This is what I've been concerned about. And so hopefully that this is now public, that, the people of Jamaica would, kick their government in the butt to start doing something. That they would not, they reference, when the Cambridges were in Jamaica, they said, we're moving on. And yet nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. They have not moved one step towards becoming a republic. And so when the moment I heard about, him being on the Queen's Privy Council, I was like, how are you going to be a republic when you're still attached? You're sitting there protecting the Queen's interests, meaning protecting her, keeping your country as part of, where the monarchy is still ahead of your state. So it's just like, again, the leaders of these countries, I don't think they necessarily want to lose whatever it is they're gaining from their connection with royalty and and all of that, what all of that entails. I don't think they want to lose that. And so for me, that's what a lot of that dragging that feet is. They want to keep that for themselves, but not necessarily, and not that, I'm thinking, okay, they have bad intentions for their people, but a lot of people they like the idea that they get to be, it's kind of like that thing where you see people that gets MBE and ABE and OBE or knighted or whatever. There's that thing that I don't know, they love that connection. It gives them a sense of importance and a whatever. And a lot of them wouldn't want to give that up. And unfortunately, they compromise their own people because they don't want to give that up. And again, I'm not saying that what he is, but I wouldn't be surprised. So anyways, I hope and pray for the sake of our Jamaican friends that they, that they continue bringing this up and exposing this. The fact that after all these months, nothing is, they haven't even informed people how they're going to be doing this stuff. Nothing has been done. That's crazy. And then you put on the Jamaican people where they had to mourn for somebody they're like, we're trying to get away from this woman. Why? Why do we have a 7 or 10 day mourning, whatever they had? Why? If someone wants to mourn for her and they feel that's fine, but why should we be basically forced to mourn when we're trying to, it's like, and according to this report, it's like it was been a distraction. It's distracting them from the work of the people. And so I just, it's very unfortunate. I was hoping that I was wrong. I was hoping that I was so wrong about this, and I wanted to be wrong. But it's very unfortunate to see that I wasn't. Terry says, but I think it's status. They have a little extra. This is exactly it. This is exactly it, Terry. I think you're right. It does that. They feel like they have this kind of status with that connection. When that connection cuts, they're basically on their own. And they don't, that is, I can understand because, you've been connected to mama for so long. When you go on your own, it's a bit scary. And I don't think they're ready or feel like they want to know what that feels like. So they keep that connection, even though they're enslaved to it. Unreal. Alma says, what royalty? The working people are paying as always. Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. Let's see. Gail says, going back to Harry and Meghan, will need a lot of debriefing to get over last week. Hope they get the space to chill with their kids. well, physically they have a lot of space. Yeah, and I think, even though I wanted the podcast and all that, goes along with it, but I think, having this week to just decompress, get over all, not, I don't know that they'll necessarily get over, but at least to deal and whatever they need to do to really just start again that healing process, to get over that. Yeah, that was just, oof, that was brutal. That was really brutal. When you feel brutalized and it's not even you, then you can only imagine how the person that's directed to, and against, how they are feeling. So yeah. Teslin says, hi Teslin. Teslin says he just said what he thought the masses wanted him to say. I'm assuming you're talking about Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. So yeah, that could be it, and that could be it, and it doesn't, it didn't really mean it again, And again, I don't know if that Privy Council thing, I don't know if it just transfers to Prince Charles, or if if he has his own council that does not include Andrew Holness, because I know Simon Case is now under Privy Council. So yes, that Simon Case, the one who set up that Flybe jet thing they used to throw Harry and Meghan and Archie under the bus. Yep, that's Simon Case. So I don't know, if he, since obviously the Queen is now passed on, if he's still on it, but who knows. Imelda, hi Imelda. I hadn't seen you here before. Imelda says, we in St. Lucia had a 70-second silence at 10 a.m., which I think people hardly took notice of. Oh, okay. There you go. I mean, if people want to mourn, or again, everybody feel differently towards her, that's fine. But to force your country basically having a 7, day 7, 10, whatever the amount of days, I don't remember. But I know some people were protesting. It's like, why? If someone wants to do it, let the person, but don't, basically shut your government to and not take care of your, I don't know how much, the government really was working, but it's kind of like, as they were saying, it was a distraction from taking care of the people in your country. So, let's see. Gail says, I was on the Duchess of Sussex live and thought I was speaking there, but I also had been listening to Padel beforehand. So those comments I made were in relation to what was being said there. Oh, wait. You thought you were talking to the Duchess of Success? Okay. I could pretend I'm Anne if you want, Gail. I could definitely pretend to be Anne. I mean, I was an actress, so there you go. Teslin says, yeah, Andrew doesn't want to give up his status. I don't think so. I think a lot of it is I'm always side-eyeing those leaders. It's just like, definitely side-eyeing them with that one. So let's see. Michael Miller. Hi, Michael Miller. How are you? Michael says, the only biracial prince and princess, Archie and Lilibet, may not get HRH status from King Corrupt Chucky, according to some royal commentators. These are the same people who claim that Meghan was lying when she said this. She said that they were looking to change the Georgia 6 convention, where, she said where Archie and Lilibet does not automatically, Lilibet was in her tummy at the time, but where they don't get, prince and princess automatically. And it is playing out. It is exactly what Meghan said was happening, and now, there's been nothing from the royal family. There's on the website, it still has it, Master Archie and I think Lady Lily. I think they call her Lady Lilibet, whatever. But there is nothing on there that says Prince and Princess. So Charles is changing something or trying to negotiate. Some ways like, I'll give you the Prince and Princess, but you have to give me something. If Charles, that's how he kind of operates. It's like, you give me something, I give you, and because people were like, no, it's automatic. And I question that if it's really automatic because of what Meghan said. And so, now it's like, what Meghan said was true. It is not automatic. And Charles, being Charles, is playing it. And the same thing he's doing with his own brother, the Duke of Edinburgh title was supposed to go to Edward. Charles still has not given it to him. Who knows if he will ever give it to him? And it's kind of like, Edward might have to pledge eternal loyalty to Charles to get that. It's very, he may never get it. And so, reporters are claiming that, they can get Prince and Princess, but they're not going to get HRH. But then because, Harry and Meghan aren't working royals. Well, neither is, Beatrice and, her sister. Neither of them are working royals. And they still have their HRHs. They were born prince and princesses the same way as Lily and Archie. So how come they get to have it and Lily and Archie don't have it? So, it just unreal. Again, there's been nothing from Meghan and Harry, and there has been nothing from the palace. So this is, again, only royal commentators speculating as they always do. So until I hear from Harry and Meghan, and again, it can also be that they are holding it, not giving it to them, and allowing, when they turn 18, they can choose if they want to be a prince and princess. That could also be the issue as well, because again, the Wessex's daughter, whatever her name is, Louise, I think it's Lady Louise, she is still referred to as Lady Louise because she when she turned 18, the Queen was still alive, she had the right to just claim her princess title, and she never did. So she just may not want that burden. She may not, so she didn't take it. Apparently at that time it was available to her and she didn't do it. So who knows? So until Harry and Meghan say something, I don't really know what's happening. And again, the fact that it's not automatic, for me, it says Prince Charles is playing up in there, maybe playing up in there. And again, that's what Meghan says. That's something that they were considering. So, Yes, exactly. Church Nelly is saying the same thing. Yeah, Michael, Meghan told us. Yeah, she definitely did. And people were like, no, she just doesn't understand what it says. They automatically become prince and princess. They are, even when the Queen died, the people were still saying, no, they automatically. Meghan didn't know. And now, here we are. How the Queen died, the 8th? We are at the 21st, and it still hasn't, there's still not clarity on what happened there and why it's not automatic and why the royal family on that website is still not changed. So again, people were claiming she was lying. And some were claiming she was lying. Some of them were claiming she just didn't understand what the George VI Convention is. And it's just like, you do realize that Meghan had a whole life and she's a college graduate. She was all of that. She understands. She understood the convention perfectly fine. So, But let's see. Moving on, trying to find the other thing here. Sheila says Simon Case was the henchman at KP doing the bidding against Meghan. Yes, he was. Charles is a puppet master behind the curtain at KP. He is more in charge there than Willie Leaks and Kate realizes. Charles's henchman. Well, Simon Case was actually worked for William, not Charles. He was William's. He came from the government. He came from the Tory party and went to Williams, and then promptly went back to work for Boris Johnson. And he is actually, I think he is still working for the government as well. I think he is now with Liz Truss. I always get her name wrong, but he is I think he's going to be working under Liz Truss. And so, and also he is a member of the Privy Council. And Ben Elliott, funny, Ben Elliott, you remember him when we first heard about the cash for access in 2021, July 2021. He was the first one. He is Camilla's nephew who worked for Boris Johnson's government, and he was the first, with his quintessentially business, he was the first cash for access person with, linked to Prince Charles. And so he has now resigned the Boris Johnson. Well, now Boris Johnson is obviously out. So he resigned his position in the government. So who knows? Maybe he's just focusing on quintessentially, but who knows? Let's see. But yeah, Simon Case actually came from KP, not yeah. Let's see. Moving on. Oh, Michael is saying they're automatically prince and princess Archie a little bit, but HRH is different. He can deny them that. I think the Sussex squad will have to crush the royal family if that happens. Well, again, that's what it claims, that it's automatic. It's not, apparently. Because if again, automatic means on the 8th when the queen dies, then all of that stuff they updated the line, the line to be king, whatever they call that, the line of succession to be king and queen. They updated that. What they didn't update was the Lily and Archie. So if it was automatic, that would have been updated, and it's not. So yeah, that HRH thing, yeah, because I think the HRH is like, you get security and all of that stuff. Yeah, so I guess Charles is probably playing with that. Joy says the title should be automatic unless Charles changes the latest patent. That was what Meghan says. Her HC should bargain for those titles. Let Charles make the decision and live with it. My thing is, why should they even have to? If it's automatic, if it, HRH is and be prince and princess is automatic. I mean, again, the York girls or women are HRH and they're born prince and princess and they have it's automatic. So why should Harry have to bargain for his kids when it was automatic for Andrew's kids? So it's just not fair. Again, they were like, okay, you can't be you can't have the half work with the firm for half of the time and then have your own life half of the time. You can't do the half in, half out, but other people are doing it. The thing that I'm seeing is like other people are able to do it, but Harry and Meghan are not. It's like, if you're going to do the same thing, so for me, the HRH is the same thing. If the York girls can have it, why does Harry and Meghan have to bargain for it? If it was automatic for them, it should be automatic. That's what the law says. It should be automatic. The moment he became king, they should be. So why should they have to bargain for it? Again, where I am with the royal family, I just cut them all off, get myself off of literally, I would cut it all off and just have my own life. And that's where, again, I have never been in that situation. So maybe I'm just saying this because I never had to deal with that monumental decision. But honestly, I don't see the benefit. I literally don't see the benefit of being attached to them. And again, so yeah. And exactly, Eugenie and Beatrice have never been working royal. So how could they get HRH as automatic? They've never even been working royals. So yeah, so then why should Harry and Meghan have to bargain for it? It is unfair. Black Queen, he was? And Holness was kissing up to Charles, so there's that. Was Andrew Holness at the Queen's thing, at the funeral? I don't know if I saw him in Like, I saw pictures of some people, but I didn't know, was he in the UK for the funeral? I didn't see any pictures. I've seen pictures of some like African heads of state and stuff, and obviously US and stuff, but I don't recall seeing him. So y'all could tell me. Let's see. Go. Sheila says Charles is the head of the Snake Orchestra. Is the head of the Snake Orchestrator and a big funding behind all of the abuse against Meghan and bad decisions against Harry. He's insanely envious of Meghan. Charles is goodness. It's it's so funny with them. It's like you have all of this supposed power. It's like if you have all of this supposed power, you have all of these connections, you have your tentacles. It just goes far and wide, so far beyond anything Meghan and Harry has. Yet he's just this, I don't know. It's like he has to have everything and nobody else has anything. So everybody has to come and beg for stuff from him, and that is how he feels powerful. It's kind of how the royal family works, where the head, the heir, or now the king, they get everything. And the rest of the royal family pretty much have to go to him and beg for their living. And I feel like that's the thing that gives where he feels powerful. And it's like, but you have all this stuff. You have all this stuff. And I get the sense William is the exact same way. Especially in dealing with Harry. You can see it even from as a child. He was like that. Sheila says, and when Meghan talks about the Queen, she says that she was always treated her well. Meghan loved her husband dearly or clearly or dearly. Oh, I'm not seeing this well. Dearly, he dearly adores his granny. Both are broken. Meghan was genuinely mourning with him. Yeah, you could tell. You could totally tell. That last picture, other than mourning, other than the pain of what they had suffered, you could tell, it was just a sadness there. Nutty Doctor says, until the law is changed, it is automatic. We just have to wait to see if Harry and Meghan wants the title for their children or Charles changes it. One of the things that I've learned from doing this and reading about Charles and the Queen is there are many, many laws in the UK that are changed that people only find out years later. And the only reason we know that the Queen got exemption from Scottish laws, and that was months later, is because the Guardian have been probing all of the laws that they have, where they got exemptions and all of those things. And because they were probing, they found out that, the Queen also had exemptions from following the race laws and all of those things. This was years and years and years and years ago that this happened. And we're only finding this out for last year. And so there are a lot of laws that they change that people have no idea about. And they're assuming stuff is, this is happening when they've already gone and changed laws. And because I know that, and because we're just finding out about all those laws, and especially ones that they get exemption for and all of those things, and they do it in secret. And so for me, until I hear otherwise, it wouldn't surprise me if this was changed. It really wouldn't surprise me if this was already changed and we just don't know, because of all the stuff that has come out with how laws get changed and nobody knows, or the royal family gets exemptions, or they withhold consent from laws until until whatever it is they're doing benefits them, then they will give consent. So many of those are there that nobody knew was happening, where they will withhold consent and members of parliament cannot vote on it. They can't even bring it to a vote because the royal family withheld consent, with the Queen withheld consent. Both her and Charles can do it. And so for me, unless I hear otherwise, I would not be surprised if this was already changed. And they're just not saying anything. I could be very wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if I heard that. So again, that's just judging from what they have done in the past and how nobody knows what it's just like. They just do things and nobody knows that it's there. And people, I mean, you know, people are still thinking, oh, the royal family doesn't get engaged in politics. They don't engage in it. And it's just like, no, as long as you can change laws and all that stuff. Yeah, they are. So, yeah, I don't put anything past them when it comes to changing laws. Nothing. Let's see. A few more before we end. Try to get to a couple more. Sheila James. Hi, Sheila. Sheila says, Joyce. Oh, she's talking to Joyce. What more should Meghan give up just to be in bondage? She has given up everything and has been taken, and they have taken all they can from her. I mean, she talk about, you know, people always talk about, look at all the things that Harry gave up. Yes, you know, Harry gave up, you know, as a working royal and all that entails, but Meghan gave up her whole life, everything. I mean, her job, her, you know, her career, her, you know, blog. I mean, all of those things that she gave up all that stuff to go there and freely work for them. Not freely, but to work for them and be there and support them and you know, all the things she wanted to do. She gave up her life. She gave up her country. She moved there, you know, and then they just, you know, basically kicked them in their teeth. And now she has to come and start, you know, start over. And so, yeah, it's, I'm telling you, that kind of place has a lot to, they have a lot to ask for. Thierry says, Simon Case was at KP. Then he went to Downing Street. It's a revolving door with the royal family and 10 Downing Street. Yeah. And a lot of their staff are Tories. Yeah, that's why I call Prince William Royal Tory, because of that. Yeah, he came from there. He came, Simon Case actually came from there and he went back. So, yeah. He was definitely instrumental in getting, because when, especially when William started his thing with, you know, getting in with reporters and editors from different magazines, you know, different British tabloids and different outlets. Yep, Simon Case was he was there. He was, that was one of his things. He was there, you know, started the process of William, you know, building relationship with all those people to big him up. So, you know, he is the future king or future at the time, you know. So, yeah. Hasn't helped, though. William is William. You can big him up all you want. Unless he does something of value, he is still that person. So, yeah. Angela says, Charles has not updated their titles because he doesn't want to lose the favor of the royalist and racist section of the public. Could be, because, you know, when that, you know, when those titles, those people have been calling, strip them of their title, you know, so you'll definitely lose some of those when that updates, or if it does. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, wait. Actually, sorry, Sheila. I got that one. I was trying to click on something. Hang on. Another one. Sorry. I'm trying to click as many as I can. So I already got you for one, Sheila. So let's try. Let's do someone else's. It says the title was supposed to be automatic, but Meghan said that Oprah, they changed things specifically before Archie was born. She says they were that's something that was in the talks to change it. At the time when she said it, she didn't say that they changed it, said that was something that they were going to do or thinking of doing, of changing it for Archie and Lily, so that it's not automatic that they become king and prince and princess. Katarina says, the slim down monarchy is not the brightest bulb. They keep losing Commonwealth countries. Yeah. Or, I mean, if the Commonwealth, If those countries want to leave. I mean, we just read about Jamaica seeming to drag their feet. So who knows? Again, they don't want to cut those strings. They don't want to cut those strings at all. Let's see. Cookies and Cream, our awesome moderator, says, Harry says he will never be bullied into silence. The unroyals would be wise to take heed and leave Harry alone. His loyalty was to his grandmother. The queen is dead now. They need to back off. I mean, it's so funny. I was reading this. Someone did a screenshot of this article, and the worst part of it was done by a woman of color, and I really was so upset because not upset at her for writing something like that, because and again, I have to go in and read it. It's from the Standard, and I just saw like the headline of it, and then the little byline at the bottom talks about Prince Charles need to basically give Harry basically throw him out of line, something that he can't turn down, basically to get him to come back to the royal family. And it is just, I'm like, if you've been alive just for the last week, say you knew nothing about what has happened, what they have done to Meghan in the last 6 years that she has been a member of, or at least part of that royal family. If you've only been alive in the last week, why would you want to wish that on them? Why would you have to be so under a rock on Mars with your head buried in Mars's earth that you don't see what happened, in the last week, to wish that and to come up with, and again, a person of color, you've watched, especially Harry's wife, get abused, literally, for holding her husband's hand. And you are coming up with Charles should, throw out something for Harry to make it, something he can't turn down to come back to the royal. For what? Why would you wish that on them? And so I was really angry at her, because I'm like, you can't tell me, you're in the press. You can't tell me you didn't see the abuse in the last week. You can't tell me you didn't see all the ways that they tried to humiliate Harry and humiliate Meghan. You can't tell me you didn't see all the ways that it's just, you can't tell me you didn't see the racism thrown at Meghan. In every corner of the UK, you can't tell me you didn't see it. And yet you would join in with the royalists, basically saying, the royal family should, or at least Prince Charles should, find a way to bring him back. Why would Harry want that? Why would you wish that on them? Why hasn't what happened with Meghan, why hasn't the racism thrown out? Why hasn't that affected you as a woman of color? And it's unreal to me. And that is a thing that I have noticed. And again, South Asian people on here, this is not about you. This is not you. But there has been a thing, especially with reporters, and I had to call out one of them the other day, who, she was talking about the racism thrown, especially since the Queen died, all the racism that has been thrown at Black people and people of color, Black and brown people in the UK. And I was like, weren't you the one where we were calling out Camilla Tominey for lie, whatever? You were the one, you were there. You were one of the reporters supporting her and all that stuff. And, one of the things with her and many people is, when the racism and stuff is not targeted to them, they never acknowledge it. When Black people are calling out racism, they never acknowledge it. A lot of times they would side with the white people and they would say, oh, no, there's not much racism here. But then when it gets targeted at them, then it's like, oh gosh, people are being racist. And that has been the thing with a lot of South Asian people in the UK. It's been a pattern. And that is the thing that I'm seeing exactly with her. I was like, you are a woman of color. You can't tell me you didn't see all the racism that was thrown at Meghan the last week. If you weren't even alive or here for the last 4 years, just this week alone, that you would even twist your mouth and form your mouth to even, or, set your fingers to write stuff like that. And so it's just very frustrating to say. Very, very frustrating to say. And again, some people, if they're not experiencing it, they don't have no compassion on people outside of themselves. So it's unreal. Anyways. Bye, Church Nelly. We're done in a couple minutes. She's like, bye. Thank you so much, our awesome moderator. Smooches to you and all the wonderful squaddies in South Carolina. See you next time. Bye. Karen Werner says, I think here is where Doria is going to step in if Charles don't do this and leave her daughter alone, because now it's going to be a parent to parent. There are no granny. All gloves are off. It's so funny. I thought about that. I thought about, I don't know. I've always had, I think because I've seen there was this actress who, I think it was Holly Robinson, Pete. There was something happening and someone did something. I think it was around the time where, what's her name? Oh shoot, I forgot her name, but she works a lot with Piers Morgan. And there was this big thing that happened where she was supporting Piers Morgan, and then she was called out on the show. Karen Osborne, yeah, she had done something to Holly Robinson, and then I think she said something, and then Holly Robinson's mother came at her. And it was like, ooh, Mama Robinson. I mean, Mama Robinson came up and stood up for her daughter. And I would never forget that. She stuff. And so it's so funny because I thought about that. So I'm like, I wonder when, or if, because I know Meghan asked her to basically, don't get it. Meghan wouldn't want her mom involved in any of this. She's been very, very protective for her mom. But I was thinking that I wonder when would be the day that Doria is like, I know my daughter said to stay out of it, but I'm going to come after you. Because I would be all here for Mama Doria. I would be all here for Mama Doria. It's just like, this is where you don't come after my daughter. But, Meghan would be like, no, Mom, because she's very protective, and rightly so, protective of her mom. So, oh, Kathy, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support so much. Thank you. And, oh, there's another one. Oh, Naughty Doctor, thank you so much. Oh, she's like, you're on fire. I am actually, literally, I'm a little bit hot because I only like fans, and I turned my fan off because it's a little loud. So yes, I am not on fire, but it's a little hot in here. So let's see. So yeah. Terry says, yes, Polo, you're correct. They look the other way when it's not happening to them. Yeah, it's something, it's weird. It's like there was this woman, I think she was on Loose Women. She was a Pakistani. And I remember that was the most, I don't know if it's the most shocking, but it was really shocking to see when Meghan was living in the UK and she was being attacked left and right. This woman went after Meghan. And she was like, Meghan is the one that is causing the divide. There is no racism in the UK and whatever. And then all of a sudden, I didn't see her on the show anymore. Only to find out she left because she had something racist abuse thrown at her or something like that. And all of a sudden, when it was thrown at her, then she acknowledged the racism. And I was like, but you're the one that said there was no racism when Meghan was the one attacked. And all of a sudden there's racism when you're attacked. And that has been the pattern. And so, yeah, it's, yep, that's the reality. Let's see. A couple more before we end. Yes, again, thank you so much, Alma. Thank you, thank you. I see Lydia thanking you as well. Thank you for your super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support, guys. I appreciate. Cynthia, let's look at Cynthia says, who in their sane mind would want a man to leave his wife and children and go back to work in our company that is hostile towards it? I mean, again, you just have to look at this week. You don't even have to look at the last 4 years or 6 years. Just this week, you know, these haters' hatred has no boundaries. I know they want to abuse, and then you just stay and take abuse. I mean, for me, that is, and again, UK friends, you could tell me, but it seems to be that's the culture there. If you're abused, you're supposed to be silent and just take it. And especially if, it's, say, the royal family, or, some in those, royal, upper class, quote unquote upper class. If you say anything, they will gaslight you and then throw themselves in as the victim, which is what the royal family and their press has been doing. Because every time Harry and Meghan say something, they're attacking the royal family. They've cast them. I mean, again, it's a narcissistic society where they feel like they have every right to abuse you and you have to take it. And if you say anything, they gaslight you and then paint themselves as victims. And yeah, it just... They talk about boundary. They will set up a boundary and they hate you. So look at what they did to Meghan. So yeah. Sarah Khan is the one on Loose Women. That was her. Wait, is that Sarah is her name? For some reason, the first name it seems different, but Khan is the last name. Yeah. She was the one. I mean, oh my goodness. It's so wild because I think in those moments of her just vouching for the fact that the UK, England is not racist. And it's just like, really? You're not white. And they're going to show you that pretty soon. And soon enough, they showed her. It's it's Sarah or Sarita or something like that. Sarah, the first name sounds different, but Khan is the last name. Yes. Let's see. A couple more before we go. Joy says, Doria will not do anything unless something happens to Meghan, then all bets are off. I mean, I hope she never has to. I hope she never has to, because one, she has her life and she does it, and she's there support for Meghan privately and quietly as she's always done. So I would never want her to have to do that. But on the other hand, Mama Bear, if she, if anything gets worse and Mama Bear comes out, hey, I'll be all right there I would be right there with Mama Doria. So yeah. But let's hope that never ever has to happen. So again, my thing is, I hope they never go back there. I really, not even for coronation, nothing. Send them your best wishes and that be it. Don't ever go back there. I would be very happy. So do you whatever organization you still want to have in the UK and associated with in the UK, do it via Zoom or something. Send them a video. If I were them, I wouldn't go. But again, they may think otherwise. So yeah. Wow. Sheila says narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy. It is it is very well socialized in the British society. It is a reason why so many migrants return home mentally ill. Wow. That is wow. I didn't know that. Wow. But am I surprised? No, I am not. I am fine, Patricia. I hope you are well as well. I hope you are well. Let's see. One more. Sharon thinks, I think it's time for Mama Doria to step up. Now the abuse is going on too long. She needs to have a sit down with Robin. No. No, Robin is at ABC. No. Or Gail King or Maria Shriver or even Meghan's podcast laid on the table. Again, I have that fantasy as well. But again, I wouldn't want Mama Doria. Honestly, I wouldn't want her to. I don't want things to get so bad that she would have to. I mean, it has to really. I mean, this is horrendous as it is, and so for her to step in, it'll have to be, and I don't want it to get to a place where she has to do that. Would I love what I think my ultimate thing would be for Meghan to really lay it all on the table, name names, be completely blunt with what happened to her, so it's out there, so there's, you know what I mean, there's no like guessing what happened or who did what or whatever. That's my fantasy. I would, whether it's via a podcast, whether it's via writing a book, whether it's, doing a documentary, whatever, my fantasy would be Meghan just saying, this is it. This is what happened. This is who did it. And this is what is done. This is when, you know me, I'm a very blunt person. I say what I think and let the chips fall where they may. Maybe I need to curb that a little bit, but that's me. I would say it. And a lot of people have gotten mad at me for certain things, whether it's here or otherwise. But for me, I just feel like I'm not a person that beats around the bush. I'm not a person that throws out innuendos. I'm not a person that I say what I think. And sometimes it rubs the wrong way with people. But I mean, I'd rather be that. So I may, nobody can, there's no question as to what I think about something. I will just tell you. And that's but that's not how everyone is. And that's not how everyone communicates. And I appreciate that. But my fantasy is, and for me, if it were me in that situation, that's what I would do. I would just lay it all on the table. And so, but we'll see what Meghan will do, and I will respect, whatever and however. Again, everybody is different, and we all communicate differently. So yeah. But anyways, I think we are going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We're gonna leave it with some positive. Back to our faves. They are out of Shutter Island and they are back in, and this is New York, but I'm like, I don't care. It's somewhere in the US. And I'm in New York, so I'm a little bit, a little partial to them being in the city. And so I am very excited that they are back here and home. And so I just wanted to, after all that, we are leaving here with our faves smiling. That's what I want to do. And that's what I want to see them back. The next time I see them in the US, I want that smile to be on their face and to see the peace in their eyes, whatever it is, healing being done, whatever. So I just really, that's my wish, and that, let them spend as much time as they need under a tree getting to that space. So definitely. But thank you guys so much. Thank you to our other awesome moderators, Lydia Churchnelli, who had to leave us, but we'll see her next time. Karen M, Julia Rock. Was Julia Rock here today? I don't know that I saw Julia Rock. But Cookies and Cream, thank you guys so much for being amazing and keeping this space wonderful and free of trolls and all of that stuff. And I think our 1 week subscription thing is working. Thank God. At least for most part anyway, it's working. So thank you guys for keeping the space wonderful and free, and really a safe space for us to just chat. And thank you so much too for all our awesome 2 Cents Crew members. Thank you so much for your support for the channel. I appreciate you so much. And for all, and I have a couple more that I need to add here too. Our Gold Star supporters, still need a name. And all of you who support via, as you can see, the super chats here, super stickers, merchandise, PayPal, Cash App. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate all of you. Again, you didn't have to do any of that. The kindness of your heart, you're supporting the channel. So I absolutely appreciate you. Again, I'm going to put up the little banner. But thank you so much for all of you who have supported us, like whether it's just so much as, liking the videos. Please go ahead and like the video. Definitely, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We'd love to see you in the chat, but you have to be subscribed for a week. So if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Click the notification bell so that you can, know when we drop a podcast. And also, you can also join, again, not obligated, but you can also join and become part of the 2 Cents crew. So thank you guys so much. I love you all. And I will see you next time. We shall chat more. And I hope it's, a lot more pleasant than today, a lot more positive news than we have today. So I look forward to that. But I love you guys. Have a great day, and I shall see you soon. Bye.